We're just gonna run this one a little late. I don't care. I want to get through the whole thing. We'll just run it a little late. Doesn't matter. Can you get that whip pot quickly now? Thank you. Both hands, both hands. Thank you. Yeah, it's heavy, huh? That weighs a lot, huh? All right, we're good, we're good.
Hey everybody, this is Becky with Sling County Library. Sorry we had some technical difficulties, but as with cooking, things like this happen. So we're learning, and we've got a new system, so I can see comments very easily now. So if you have any questions, please post them, and I can see them instantly, and we can talk to Cheryl. We've got a lot of interesting things to do. Cheryl's going to show us how to make this evening, and we hope you stay tuned. Cheryl, I do have a question. Talking about how things work. How do you have a real good sense of humor?
You know what? That is the biggest bone I have on my body is an excellent sense of humor. Because you can never ever take it personal. And when things are going to go wrong, they're going to go wrong, by the way. Things are going to go wrong. But when things go wrong, you just don't take it personally.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I've heard that you're going to have Katie show us her special dessert. Is that true?
Oh my gosh. This is a dessert that Katie Bell has crafted on her own. And that Aunt Cheryl, as a chef, had to say, all right, now I understand that this is better than what I would come up with out of the blue like this. But, you know, that's why you got to be humble too, right? And like
right.
Humble.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
Katie,
I'm excited. Yeah.
They can't quite see you, Katie. All right, so you know how this is a birthday special dessert, right?
Yeah.
You'll never guess whose birthday.
Was it yours, Katie?
Was it your birthday, Katie? Yeah.
Yeah.
How old did you turn? She turned 9, guys.
9.
Katie Bell turned 9.
Yeah. Do you enjoy cooking, Katie?
You like cooking, Katie? They asked. Yeah. Katie does like cooking. Luckily, Katie comes from a family full of people who can cook.
Yes. Yes.
And that's my big difference when a lot of people ask me about what I do and how I do. It's because I come from a family full of people who know how to cook. Forget it. We all know how to cook. They may not know how to do the French stuff I know how to do, but every single person in my family can cook. And I know of several of them. They step on the line when y'all are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to start with, though, is the savory stuff, because savory stuff usually takes a little bit longer than dessert does, right? Savory stuff, you know, the entree and whatnot. Little known facts. I say when you cheat at something really well. And I think we lost Becky, guys. Is everybody still here?
Let's see. I'll let you go ahead and take over because it looks like you're in capable hands. So you've got lots of help.
As always, come here, guys. Okay, as always, we have 1 sous chef, 2 sous chefs, my manager sous chefs here, Katie and Hannah. All right. You know, another thing that we that when I say you cheat well, you cheat with something that's going to taste good, something that's going to save you a lot of hassle, something that's a time thing. I cheated, and I'm no shame. Our pork loin is one that I found. It's already seasoned. It's got a citrus herb seasoning, and it's already been marinated in that seasoning, so it's gonna be soft, supple, and it's gonna da da da. Now, if I was going to be cooking for a lot of people, if I was going to cook for a lot of people, I would have these in a brine overnight, so that way, it would marinate or brine, Either way, it's going to be enough. It's going to be in our instructions. So this way, no matter what, we have a good piece of pork. The story behind, okay, so the story behind this pork. Once upon a time, that's how I tell my stories, by the way. Once upon a time, I started at this duck lodge, and I was completely unprepared the second day to be the person who was cooking at the duck lodge. I wasn't ready, guys. The first day I came behind a chef that I know very well, and he had done some prep. So all I had to do was walk in, and even though some of those things got changed, there was sort of a plan, and I fixed it, and we moved on. A lot of my talent is actually that I can walk in when there's a problem, and I can fix it, and I can still come out with what we're looking for. I tell people all the time that doesn't make me necessarily special, doesn't make me necessarily better than anybody, but it means that when it comes to doing my job, I'm good at it. All right, so our pork loin already seasoned up has along the same line of seasonings that I call for in the recipe, which will be up tomorrow. The reason the recipe is not up now is because, well, do you want to use the recipe that I tell you about, or do you want to use the recipe we actually use? You want to use the recipe I actually use when I'm cooking. So the recipe I actually use when I'm cooking on occasion, when I'm cooking something, changes versus what we had just kind of hanging out, because you have to be versatile. You have to know that, especially in things like a pandemic, you're not necessarily going to get the same things you had before, right? It's a pandemic. Things aren't necessarily the same way they were when we started. Things are not necessarily going to go back to the same way when we finish it, right? We have to be understanding. We have to be calm, really good to people, even when life says, left turn, right? For this dish, I actually really love Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts, little mini cabbages. You can buy them either whole and trim them in half, but always cut your little bottom off, because that's not good eats. And I'm gonna roast them at the same time that I'm roasting this pork loin, just like I'm gonna roast this up. Some sweet potatoes. Today we're not gonna end at the same time we normally would, because we had our technical difficulties, and we're gonna get through our entire recipe. It is kind of nice to see the chat. I am kind of glad. Well, no, I'm not kind of glad. I'm very glad to have the company when I cook. I have somebody to answer questions for, if anybody has any.
Right. We need people to ask us questions. So if anybody has any questions, let us know.
All right. Things like sweet potatoes and root vegetables go very well with pork. And to finish the duck lodge story, that first time that I made this pork loin at the duck lodge, it didn't go great, guys. I can't tell you a lie. I can't tell you a lie and say I hit it every time off the heart, but I can tell you that by the time I had to do it again, I had an idea of what I wanted to do. And when I had to use what I had made, which wasn't bad, but a little dry, that's where we came up with the recipe that we're going to make today. I came with that recipe because I was like, I do not want to waste that. I find it very awful to waste things when we're given such good product to work with, and when so many people need things in this world, and so many people need to eat. And when I've been lucky enough to work in places that I got to try new things, and where I got to try the best of all kinds of things, I know how absolutely fortunate I have been through everything to be able to do what I've done, to go to school, to be hired in some of the best places in Arkansas, or the world rather, That's cool, by the way. Pretty darn awesome. I know that anytime I ever reached out to an instructor or a director and I needed help, somebody helped. And there are so many places in this world we can't do that. And it will always mean everything in the world to me that I had that bad luck when I got started. And even though I'm not still just started, I know that if I need anything today, just say, hey, help. Somebody will help. All right, so our Brussels sprouts. I put a little safflower oil. It's sunflower oil. I really love the flavor. And I really think it'll add something to our root veggies. Can you give me another sheet, please? Our sous chef, she's off camera, but you know, she's pretty good. I'm gonna salt and pepper things because 99% of what you get your flavor out of is gonna be salt and pepper. Always, always, always. 99% of what the difference in my cooking is that I add layers and layers of flavor as I go. All right, so I have seasoned up, you know, before leaving with my headphones. I have seasoned up my Brussels sprouts. All right, that's not hard. I'm going to spread them out on the sheet pan in even layers. See? You lay on the sheet pan. Not yet. Hold on. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to use is some sweet potatoes. Look, this is not something you can't find. Sweet potatoes, right? This is just something I found that a lot of people don't necessarily go after. I don't know why. It's really enjoyable. I really love sweet potatoes. And everybody's like, oh, I like russet potatoes. I like little red potatoes. And they don't understand the value of a good sweet potato. All right. Now, when it comes to roasting sweet potato, you can either peel it or not peel it. You can half peel it. You can do a happy little dance and move on, right? So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to peel these, or I'm going to peel one, and then I'm going to leave one unpeeled just for the sake of it. Whenever you peel something, your over trash can goes directly in said trash can or bowl. No muss, no fuss. Just a quick snoop your end. Snoop your end. We're gonna try to adjust the camera down. Unfortunately, this time we don't have our handy camera mount, but that's okay. We'll by the time that we get all this done, that we find a platform we like and I've done this several times, y'all. We're gonna have quite a good time. So I'm gonna break my sweet potato. I'm actually gonna cut this in smaller pieces. You don't have to, but I do.
It'll cook faster that way, won't it? If it's smaller pieces?
Exactly. Smaller pieces will cook faster. And this is something that a lot of people don't seem to realize when they cook. Smaller pieces equal daintier bites. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate having giant, huge mouthfuls of food when I am in public. I want dainty bites. That is why I enjoy fine dining, because the bites don't make me look like a giant dinosaur who's trying to eat. All right, so there's a question from our sous chef off to the side. Okay, sous chef, what's our question?
Is there a reason you're using the very end of the knife cut, or you just do it?
Is there a reason I use the very end of the knife to cut? All right, so because this is a hard root vegetable and I want control over my knife, I keep toward the base of my knife. When I am working through finer vegetables that aren't as bulky, I can use the tip of my knife, but because I want control and I want to make sure that I'm not killing myself with the knife, I use where all the weight is on that knife that way. All right, so we got salt and pepper again. Look at this go. Yes, Becky.
I was just gonna say, my husband loves the sweet potato pie, and I have trouble, cutting up those sweet potatoes. So I appreciate that tip because now I know how to do it much easier. So
that's the thing. Like little stuff is what little stuff that I learned as I went along. And it's not even conflict. It's not even really shiny, detailed stuff that makes what I do very good. It's just stuff that I learned because I needed to learn. And when I was coming over today, I was thinking, you know, sometimes people don't, sometimes people don't realize that chefs are surrounded by so many people in their careers and in their kitchens. You wind up with all kinds of people around you. You wind up with dishwashers and line cooks. You get your sous chefs. You get your front of the house. You get all of these people around you. All these people with all these personalities, with all these experiences, and they're all varied, of course. But the most important thing, as chef, or even just as a person that I found, is that you need to learn from the people around you. You need to listen to them. You need to learn. You need to not discount who they are or what they know because of their job title or because of your job title. Pretty darn important. All right, so this is our eggplant. We're going to start working on our tagine, which needs a little while to cook, kind of like our pork loin needs a little while to cook. All right, so our eggplant here, just a eggplant you get in the grocery store. I would love to be playing a farm fresh produce. We're in Arkansas. You can get some of the most beautiful produce in the entire planet because we're in Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. I highly advocate visiting farmers markets. I highly advocate finding different places than just the grocery store to find your goods because we have so many people in Arkansas that farm and that raise livestock and are doing it organic. They're doing it with love. Highly, highly recommend it. All right. So for this tagine, I don't want the skin on my eggplant. It's not that I don't like eggplant skin, and there aren't some recipes where I use it, but for this tagine, I'm going to take my eggplant skin. Okay. I just kind of treated that awful like I was peeling a fruit, which sometime we'll talk about, I don't know, how to peel pineapples or something fun. That's another one of those things that not everybody knows. It's fairly simple. When I cut this, I cut the bottom off first to give myself a stable platform when I was working. And because I cut that off, I have a little bit on the end. So I'm going to clean the end up. There we go. Now our end is cleaned up, right? Okay. When you make a dice, and you want to make it pretty, you start by squaring it off. You make planks, and you cut things into cubes. All right, so I lost the earpiece again. I think today is going to be that day. It's okay. We're going to get through it. It's okay. So I'm going to go off the stuff here. The earpiece isn't cooperating. The camera's not cooperating. Whatever. Oh, see? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is where we need a cameraman really bad. This is where we need it. All right, so thank you, sous chef. You're the best sous chef on the planet. So I'm cutting it into strips. Which are technically bâtonnets strips. Julienne is much finer. I'm gonna cut it into cubes. You know how it's, when you read this recipe, I'm going to talk about how you could have this recipe and not miss meat. You can have this recipe and not miss meat because of the eggplant, because it has this good bite to it. It's kind of meaty. It's kind of thick. It's kind of chunky. I know it's cheesy. Our sous chef is rolling her eyes at me, guys. Our sous chef is rolling her eyes at me. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna check our protein and stuff. When you're dealing with industrial equipment versus home equipment, you have to be particularly careful about where you put things in the oven. how you rotate things in the oven, all that good stuff. All right. Now I had our tenderloin turned up pretty high. I'm gonna pull it out to rest it before we play with it. But our veggies are still in. I have these cranked up so high, guys. I wish you could smell it. The thing about these recipes are, and the same reason why I don't have a whole bunch of this prep before you see it, is because I can walk through and do it, just like you can walk through and do it. And Katie, you know, our little wild sous chef, she wanted you to know that eggplant, when it's raw, tastes like raw potato. Bum, bum, bum. It's not as starchy as a potato, but it has a little bit of a bite like a potato, right? It's got some chew like a potato. In this recipe, you could use those sweet potatoes very well, very easily. Now, normally I wouldn't actually clean the board behind every cut, but I wanted you to actually see what I'm doing. Normally, I just push it off to the side and keep going. But like I said, I want you to see what we're doing. Here we go. There we go. Start with our onion and the diced onion. I take both ends. You don't necessarily have to take both ends. For your stability's sake. Peel. Not just this layer, but the little secondary layer too. That's not good meat. It's kind of tough and gross. Some places even peel that third layer. It depends on how fine your diamond is. And because we peel those layers, some places use those in the spot to make things taste extra fantastic, right? A good stock takes it. All right. I always cut my horizontal before I do my vertical. And even in a soup like this, I'm not really doing giant chunks. I'm not giant chunks.
I like that technique of the cutting in the onions, and that way it's not as big a mess. Seems like. Seems like the onions cutting them that way, it doesn't make as big as a mess as, you know, I would normally have them all over the place, chopping them individually. So I like how you hold them, you know, score them, and then
exactly.
do that. Yes. See, I'm learning.
Look at that. Now I can hear you better. I turned you up in my Bluetooth.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. So, yes, this way that I'm cutting this onion, everything stays nice and tidy. But you see where my fingers are? You see? I got it gripped back here at the back, way away from that blade. I don't like my fingers. Look, they're all attached. Oh. Otherwise, my name would be Stumpy instead of Cheryl. Chef Stumpy. I don't think so, guys. I don't want to be Chef Stumpy. All right. All right, guys. Shut that off. Okay. Now, all right. I was, when you read the recipe, or actually, if you read my Facebook and I was talking about it, I was saying the actual factual is this is not a real tagine. A tagine is actually made in a tagine. A tagine is a clay pot. It's Indian-centric food. It's got so many good spices. It's got all this wonderful flavor, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I always advocate. It doesn't matter if we're going to make Asian cuisine. It doesn't matter if we're going to make American cuisine. It doesn't matter if we're going Southern. It doesn't matter what we're doing. I'm going to tell you to put flavor in it. I'm going to tell you to put love in it. I'm going to tell you to use all your knowledge in it, not just some of your knowledge. All right. Our veggies are probably about done because they were up so hot. Woo, they're up at 450, guys. You don't want to do that. I'm standing right here with them. That's the only reason I'm bold enough to do that. But I'll turn them down, and I'm gonna let them just hang out in the oven and finish up while we're cooking. All right. Yeah, our tagine. You know, we've got our onion. We've got eggplant. We're gonna shift it in here. You'll be able to see some more of the stuff we're doing. We also have some squash, which, by the way, wonderful this time of season here in Arkansas. Look by the side of the road. Again, look at our farmers markets. Just look around, guys. We have some, again, that's some of the best produce in the entire world.
Have you ever ate any of the squash blossoms? Fried squash blossoms?
Yes, fried squash blossoms when they're stuffed with ricotta and they're
Yes.
lightly tempura battered.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I'm lucky. I've gotten to try so much cool stuff. All right. Now, you see how I'm doing this squash? You could cut out all the seed for the looks of this dish, but I'm good. I like the seeds and stuff. They're not gonna get stuck in my teeth or anything. They're not too fibrous or icky. Again, I'm gonna block it off and cube it up. You know, when I talk about cuisine, I always mention that there are some basic things in every cuisine that's very similar. We all have some basic veggies that are very similar and all over the world that we use. If you ever look at something called ratatouille, it's French. It's a peasant dish. It's kind of like squash here in the South is, though we usually cut it slim and everything. Anyway, so it's a basic thing all over the world. All over the world, you're gonna find squash in dishes. You're gonna find other gourds in dishes, other substitutes for our basic starches like jicama and all kinds of good stuff. And I advocate 300 million zillion times because I say the same thing over and over again. Hey, you gotta try new stuff. Hey, it's important not to have the same thing over and over again. It might be the thing you like, but you might be missing out on a whole world of stuff. You don't want to miss out. There's too much variety. There's too much cool stuff. There's too much joy in the world to miss out on things just because you're scared. You can't always be scared. Have interest sometimes. And I found if you teach in a group of friends, one or two people about something new, they'll take it and they'll teach someone else. And they'll teach someone else. And then all of that thing that you taught at one person, it moves along. In nursing, I think they say see one, do one. See one, teach one, do one. I think in nursing is what they say. I have some nurses on this feed. But what it means is that it's zucchini. We have zucchini to go with our squash. Yes, zucchini does look like cucumber. However, zucchini is more fibrous than cucumber, and it doesn't have that light, refreshing, mostly water taste that cucumber has. It's kind of thick. It's kind of chewy. It's kind of crunchy.
Oh, Cheryl, we did have a question. Somebody was asking, what is that? And I think they kind of tuned in late. So they're saying you cut up all the vegetables. Do you mind going over what exactly you're cooking today again?
All right, so this is a veggie tagine, a vegetable tagine. And a tagine is just kind of like this really thick, hearty stew. And I was comparing it to ratatouille. I tell you what, both of which very good here in the summer, very light, very light. All right. Yeah. Fruits have seeds as well, and veggies don't have the seeds in the same place. You're right, Katie. So today we're just using Goodies. Good though. Unfortunately, you can't hear my sous chef. She's a very interesting sous chef. She talks to me about all these things. It's very important that you answer your sous chefs, your children, and you treat your children with that kind of respect when they ask you questions and you try to help them learn things. You want to make sure that you treat them the way you want treated, even though you're the adult and the kid. Even though our sous chef really wants to show you dessert and forget dinner. It's dessert time. Even though she would rather just show you dessert. Sorry, sous chef. Well, we got to get through this dinner first. Sorry, sous chef. All right. Here we go. And as you can see, I took that one eggplant. I took that one zucchini. I've taken one squash. I've taken half an onion. And look how much I have in this bowl. This stuff in this bowl right here, this would feed 3 people. Easy. This would fill up 3 good adult-sized bowls. Easy. Then you put it over some rice and quinoa. If you just wanted to skip that altogether and just have the stew itself. I'm going to actually throw a carrot in. It's not a must, but I kind of like it. I kind of like making sure there's going to be plenty of color in things because you eat with your eyes first, right? And when you eat with your eyes and you see something that looks different, extraordinary, and smells different and extraordinary, perhaps you try again, right? So, no less so fuss. Do like carrot. I try, again, like our carrot peels would be just like our onion peels for a stock. If you want to save them. They're the basic in most French cooking. Just onions and carrots, celery. Today I skipped the celery. You could put celery in here though if you want. Today I skipped celery. I know, okay. Unfortunately, in this dish, I
That's the
wouldn't put
thing.
so much. Oh, man.
Yeah. I was going to say, Cheryl, that's one of the things, especially during the pandemic, it's okay if you leave out an ingredient or a certain vegetable. As long as you get the basics,
Exactly.
it still will work.
Exactly, because this is a pandemic and we have so much going on and things have changed so rapidly. Just being at home and cooking for yourself has happened for so many people that never did it before. And even as cool as it is that now I'm getting hired by clients to cook as a private chef. These are people who are used to going out to eat and have a lot of variety. So they want me to bring them a lot of variety. They don't necessarily just want, that good old Southern food. Sometimes they want me to bring them Asian food or Mediterranean food or Indian food. But because, of course, it depends on your taste, it's going to have to be a little different. It's going to have to be a little zhuzhed up, have to be a little changed, especially for different diets. This right here is actually pretty keto friendly. And, I'm not saying I'm going on some crazy diet. If I had to pick a diet, I was going to go on. It's still kind of keto. Because it still tastes good. It still gets you where you want to go. There are a lot of things about the diet that I fairly enjoy now that I've had to work in it a little bit versus some of the other ones that you find around. All right, so a tagine is a clay pot. That means it has a very heavy bottom. This is not a tagine. This is just a ceramic pot, but it has a very heavy bottom. It is a very, very thick pot. It would cook very, very slowly for a very long time. If you wanted to do a large amount of this and get it to be tender, that would be a great pot. All right, so we're gonna get that on the stove. I'm gonna turn it up to rip and roar for a minute because I'm gonna get it good and hot. Get it good and hot before I throw my veggies in. And I think I'm actually gonna use the rest of this onion. So you don't necessarily have to really like onion. And I really like garlic. 1, 2, 3. And you know how I got so good at all this stuff? It wasn't because I was born good at this stuff, but because I walked into culinary school being so gangster. Because I wasn't that gangster in a lot of culinary school. I knew how to cook a little bit. Oh no. Oh no. I will never pretend that I didn't have to learn quite a bit. Ever, ever. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna put oil. We'll have enough to coat the bottom, plus a little more. So I can put it on the end. I'm gonna take our onion, our carrot to start, because our carrot is gonna be the thing that's cooked the longest. Anything like a root vegetable will need to cook longest. That's what I'm gonna start with. In the recipe, I tell you to use stock. You wait for a little while to put the stock in. So we've got our veggie stock. We get it on. It's kicking. It's kicking like chicken right now. Just gonna have to cut up. All right. Another thing we're using, I would actually use stewed tomatoes, but like I went to, and no lie, I went to 3 stores with stewed tomatoes. And I said to myself, we're going to use crushed tomatoes and we're going to call it a day. I went to 3 stores, guys. Oh my goodness. There we go. I'm going to pour my crushed tomato in. You can even use fresh tomato too. Doesn't really do anything to the cooking time or anything. Doesn't really add any cooking time. There we go. Now, unfortunately, the phone I was using, my own personal phone, decided not to work today. So the phone I was using, it's almost dead. We got to have it plugged in. You're all the way over here. I'm so sorry you can't see this right now. I'm going to stir. Combine everything in real good. Now, because I have these crushed tomatoes, I also make sure to get some puree. You can throw diced in that are canned or fresh. I'm going to let this just, since I had it good and high to start, I'm going to turn it down a little bit lower. Turn it to medium. I'm going to let this start doing this thing. I'm going to take my veggies. Pour all my veggies in. I'm so sorry, y'all. Your view is not as good as last time. Next time, again, we'll have another camera person. We'll have that extra space. This is stirred into it. I'm going to actually let these just cook down for a little while before I pour any more liquid in there. So I'm going to start seasoning it. You have to season as you go, and every step you go to actually have that final flavor you want. Don't forget your garlic. So we love garlic, especially in Indian food. I use the garlic and the juice of the garlic. And then, on me, we're going to have all our spices in there. You're going to have turmeric and cinnamon and all kinds of like coriander, all kinds of good stuff. I'm just going to walk it over, get it going in. And you do not see my little sauce in my little packet over here. But I have that, it's kind of a cheat. So I've already got my stuff measured out. But you'll have the exact measurement in the recipe. I cheat a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna, I didn't bring stock this time. I should have. You can use veggie stock, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a riff on chicken stock to use for lining, because I know my family will really like that little bit of extra flavor versus just veggie. You can do that too. You can throw meat in the Tagine. You can throw whatever you want in the Tagine, guys. Look it up. It's great. The internet is our friend. This dish actually was something I made for a customer once, several years ago. And it was so good that it stuck in the back of my brain. And I don't do that with every meal, mind you. It's really good. Get stuck out there. Oh, I gotta make that thing. Oh, I need a version of that again. Oh, I have to show this to you. Oh, I have to talk to you. Because, you know, I'm moderately obsessed with food. So I'm gonna put my juice in right here. You can lid this, not lid this. Right now, I'm not gonna lid it. I'm gonna leave it. I want to kick it up for our podcast. I'm gonna show you a fun result. You don't have to. The cool things about tagines were that they were meant to slow cook. So while your meat is slow cooking, so many veggies. All right. While that's going, we're gonna start our sauce for our pork loin. I'm trying to use pots and pans that have non-stick right now. So I usually would actually use stainless steel stuff because I don't want to clean up later. And things like barbecue sauce and stuff, they love to stick, right? Let's not create more problems than we have to. All right, so this barbecue sauce, the first kitchen I ever got in, I was 15. And I know that my local people in Bryant know Jordan's Barbecue, right? Do you know the first person who ever let me in any kitchen ever was Mr. Jordan himself?
Yes, I bet you learned a lot there.
And I have to tell you that I probably would never love cooking nearly. And look at me. Let me say that. For all the military people that I worked with in kitchens, I would never ever have loved it as much if I hadn't worked with those military folks in kitchens. Mr. Jordan himself was from the Navy. He taught me how to properly see, because I thought I knew something. I didn't know nothing, y'all. He taught me how to properly mop the floor. It's called the octopus technique. The octopus goes out, spreads the tentacles, and pulls it back, spreads it out, pulls it back. And then this balled up mess. Yeah, that's not how you mop the floor. And that was something. That's something that when I talk to somebody else, like when I'm showing somebody who's brand new in a kitchen or something, that's one of those things that I talk to them about. It's already 7 o'clock, guys, but we have stuff to do, so just hold in, right? Because we started. We're gonna use our pineapple chunks. We use some pineapple juice. And I actually made this for a recipe contest one time. And I'll tell you all the stories and all the reasons why I do what I do. Maybe it's pedantic and kind of boring and stuff like that, but I'll tell you why every time. So I made this for a contest in Culinary, and people tell me it tastes almost like Chick-fil-A's. So I'm good with it. You're gonna go half a cup. Again, you'll have the recipe tomorrow. You know, half a cup Worcestershire. I say 12 ounces of that. Of the pineapple with the chunks, 16 ounces of pineapple juice. I say half a cup of this. I say a little of this vinegar. About a fourth a cup. My brown sugar. Use a little bit of this. I don't know if I go quite half a cup. This is part of the texture of it. And it's can you get it to cook down? Right. And then a lot of barbecue sauce recipes are going to tell you to use like ketchup and mustard and da da da. So for the mustard, we put that vinegar in. That's what you get out of mustard usually, vinegar. And then use a little bit of puree instead of ketchup because we have enough sweet stuff in there already, guys. It's sweet enough. It really is. We're going to take our salt and pepper. Salt and pepper for the world. Do we have anybody hanging out asking questions? Because I can't quite see.
Yeah. We did have a comment. We love Mr. Jordan. So yeah.
Yeah, see, I know who I'm talking to. Y'all love
Yes.
Mr. Jordan. I love that man, and
Yes.
that family's a good family.
Yes.
And I'm glad I got a chance that once upon a time, y'all. That taught me what I really love. Even though after that I did a lot of customer service and stuff. That taught me what I really love. All right, so our sauce has to go on and thick it up. I'm gonna stick it over here right by our tagine. We're only 45 minutes in, and I'm gonna give you at least a good hour of content because that's almost there, right? We're at least gonna have an hour of content. Our tagine, I'm cooking it down. You could put a lid on this bad boy, put it on medium or low, and let it sit for 45 minutes to an hour. Just do it thin. You don't have to get through it as quick sometimes, at all. Not at all, not at all. All right. Okay. Now we're gonna do that thing that Katie's been waiting on the entire time, guys. We're gonna start talking about sweet lasagna after we get everything
She's being
started.
very patient.
I mean, she is one of the most patient little sous chefs I could have asked for. She's one of the best little nieces that an aunt could ever ask for. Ever, you guys. I have the best nieces. All right, I'm gonna clear some space real quick. And, yeah. So Katie wants you to know today's kind is a birthday kind. And the reason, of course, that it's a birthday kind is because my birthday is in August, Katie's birthday is in August, and so is Henry's birthday. So this is a big month, y'all. I don't know if you knew this or not, but this is a big month. You have a whole lot of DeLong girls that came a whole lot came in August. Very
Yeah, a
important.
great reason to celebrate.
Exactly. All right, so here we go. We're gonna get all our ingredients gathered up for this. All right. Okay. Now, as I said, the wee sous chef. This is hers. I had nothing to do with the invention. This her grandma did. Her and grandma made this up. So, that's right. But Katie came up with this one basically by her life. All right, there. There the cheese. Right here. Okay. Good job. A big sous chef. Can you get the little sous chef that steps through? Little sous chef. She is 4 foot tall, guys. I'm 5'2". All right. All right. So, our team sous chef. We're going to start by opening. That's right. We're going to mix our Greek pudding with our chocolate pudding mix. This is instant chocolate pudding mix. Jello, of course. Yes, of course. Uh-huh. All right, wash your fingers, please, sous chef. All right. Climb back up, please. Here, little sous chef. All right. We're going to take our Greek yogurt. And what we're going to do is we're not making a full batch because a full batch is huge. It's a 9x13 pan. And you could get everybody sweetened up with a 9x13 pan, ladies and gentlemen. The whole party is sweetened up. You could sweeten up 20 people with that. We're going to make it a slightly smaller dish. Just a little bit. Because even though we like to party, we don't have to party that hard every day. We don't have to party. No. So grandma's contribution to this had to be this Greek yogurt because grandma loves Greek yogurt.
I chose every ingredient.
Oh, I'm sorry, my sous chef has updated me. This is all her. So we got 1 package of the Jello. And I'm going to use half the container of our yogurt. Try not to get our sous chef. Try not to get our sous chef. All right, and mix them together. Oh, sous chef. She got it. Mix it, mix it, mix it. Come on, baby. All right.
I'm trying.
Big sous chef. Please don't heckle small sous chef.
I'm just
You
trying
put
not to
that
squeeze all over.
heavy cream in. Now we're gonna work on that for a minute while I turn my back.
It kind of looks like dirt.
It kind of does look a little like dirt when it's finished. Just a little bit. Alright. I almost forgot to put paprika in our sauce, guys. Can't forget that part. No, no, no.
Almost done.
There we go. There we go. While I stir, you watch our sous chef stir. Look at all this bristling excitement. All this excitement. All right. Let me see here, sous chef. What we got going? All right.
We're almost done with it.
That's right. We almost got it combined. Trying to make it a smooth consistency, old sous chef, my sous chef. I've used a pint of heavy cream already. And if I can't get this to be smooth, I'll use more. If I can't get it to be smooth, I might use more yogurt instead. So I may use,
Mix up the yogurt.
a little more of the heavy whipping cream. So when it's smooth.
Kind of looks like mud when you're done with it. It looks like something.
Yeah, it kind of looks like, not even look a little bit like mud. That's right. Maybe
Looks
a
like
little
something Brian see every day.
Yes, that's right. I was sous chef, my sous chef. Something brown. I see every day. Not sure. We see this brown every day, but you know, just got a point, y'all. Just got a point.
You look at trees and it's
Okay, here we go. We got that really smooth, right? Get all that lump. We don't want any lump from our. Oh no, the sous chef, she's too strong for that list bar. Oh no. All right, we got our lumps out of our.
thing.
We got our lumps out of our original mixture. We got no lumps. We got no powdery lumps.
When I grow up, in my
I don't know if they can hear you, Katie Bug. I know they can hear me. Well, maybe they hear you. Hey guys, can you hear Katie too?
I can hear every once in a while. It's a little quiet, but for the most part, I can hear.
All right, cool.
But when I make my dessert factory, I'll call this advanced pudding. When
Huh?
we make our sweet lasagna, we'll leave some of this left over
Right.
to make it.
Gonna go half a container of Fluid right now
And then we can have the rest.
because we have layers. You know, we're making layers of sweet lasagna. There we go.
There's a Christmas, normal, and birthday.
That's right. So far, the sweet lasagna has 3 varieties: a normal, a Christmas, and this birthday. What's up, guys? You don't know about customization until you know about birthdays, Christmas, and every day. And for Halloween, there will also be, and wait for it, there will also be a sweet lasagna for Halloween, guys. Keep your eyes out. I have a sneaking suspicion it might be orange. Who knows? All right. Now, I am going to use a little bit different. Normally, we use a clear 9x13 Lexan Pyrex. There we go. Oh, sous chef, my sous chef. There we go.
What I like about these.
Okay.
This is good.
I think you're gonna just like chill out. Yes, she's right though. This is way too much filling for this little tiny bowl. But remember, this is for time constraints. So we take and we make sure that we slide it off so we have peanut butter to stick.
Now the ones you don't have peanut butter on, you can keep for the top.
That's right. We can keep the ones that didn't wind up with peanut butter for another part of the process. The peanut buttery ones,
And the
they go against the side of the bowl because, you know, decoration. Hello. Decoration is important.
Halloween is gonna look better than this. We have to have sprinkles.
Yep. Yeah. We're planning the Halloween as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. Halloween is being planned as we speak. I'm checking our barbecue sauce again and Tagine. You know, anything bad that happens to do with these things. Oh, he said big. And, right now, hey, Katie. Good. Yeah. You help me up with cookies. And let's say eat cookies. Maybe occasions sample the cookies.
Honey,
Can you stand up? It's all right, Susha.
I was laying on the meat.
Hey, other sous chef. Can you pull that back a little bit for us? Oh, other sous chef.
I'll just sample this cookie.
Yep.
So, Katie, what is your favorite food?
Katie, what is your favorite food?
I would say that my dad would make lasagna.
When her dad makes meat lasagna, that's her favorite food because her dad is an excellent cook too.
And also the pasta Jason made.
Oh, and she really likes Pasta J's lasagna. Pasta J's and Benton.
Yeah, I love their salads at Pasta J's.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite food is the salads and Pasta J's. Okay, now, as you can see, I hope you can see. I don't know if you can. I'll show you in just 1 second.
There it goes, zoomed in.
Check this out. Stuck on the side. Oh no! Ugh. Stuck on the side, we have our Nutter Butters.
It's like that flying saucer.
It's that way. That's right. It's kind of like the flying saucer thing at the park. Sometimes you fly off. All right. All right. Here we go. So our first layer is, of course, our cookies. I'm gonna rest here a little bit. I'm gonna throw some on the bottom too. I can. I'm the chef real quick. Now, I know that these are Nutter Butters and some people have a peanut allergy. I think this would be really good if you did it with Oreos. I think it would be really good with anything that has like a filling in it, like a vanilla Oreo or even chocolate Oreo. It would be really, really good. The mint ones would be extraordinary. From the grandmother sous chef over there, she doesn't like the camera as much. That's okay. All right. Our first layer right here. Shear down. Shear down. And like our noodles, of course, our cookies. So we're gonna open some more cookies. Create another layer here.
And
And we add our milk and more of our stuff on top.
And I think we don't know.
All right, so we're gonna add some more stuff on top. Now the depth of this is also a little different from our usual container.
And
I haven't quite decided if I want 3 layers yet. I didn't say. Because you at least have to have 2 really good layers. You have to. You gotta. It's just just one more. Otherwise. Now, do we want to throw more cookies on top, or do we want to just put our Cool Whip, Grandma?
Cool Whip.
Just the Cool Whip now. All right.
Cool Whip and sprinkles, chocolate chips. And
Okay. All right, there. All right, there. Put the Cool Whip right here. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh goodness, Sean. Okay.
Cheers.
All right. Of Cool Whip on top.
Everybody does this.
The sous chef is concerned if we're gonna eat the rest of this. I think so, sous chef, just not right now. All right, now, okay. All right, sous chef. Let me have that bowl there, sous chef. Not that we don't trust our sous chef. You have to trust your sous chefs, people. You also have to understand our sous chef is 9. Really like sweets. And she's hungry, so.
Yeah. But she's doing a great job.
All right, so where did our chocolate chips and stuff go there? Oh, sous chef, my sous chef. All right, we got our chocolate chips, our sprinkles, and some maraschino cherries. Here we go. Here's the maraschino cherries.
The ones that we use for.
We actually use fresh cherries in the recipe picture, but you know, maraschino cherries are already seeded, so you don't have to play with pits right now. All right, our sous chef. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we get a handful of our white chocolate chip here. Hey, old sous chef. Hey.
We'll just put cherries all around in a circle.
We're gonna put lots of cherries up here.
Last time
Chocolate chips.
I have here's a bigger version.
That's right. We got chocolate chips. Sprinkles. All right, sous chef, get it. Good job, sous chef. Good job. Take our cherries. Good job, sous chef. Take our cherries. These are all some of the sous chef's favorite things. I'm all for it. This is some of my favorite things.
These are the cherries they use in Sonic.
That's right. These are the same cherries they use at Sonic.
And I want to get some sprinkled down there.
Oh yeah, she's gonna make sure that there are sprinkles adequately distributed all over the place. There we go. And because you know, it's all 3 of us. She's trying to share everything. All right, guys. Here we go.
That looks really good.
Here's our dessert. Excuse me, Susan. Ta-da.
Yes, that looks good.
Doesn't it look good? And now you'll wrap this and you let it sit overnight. Now, because you have to wrap it and let it sit overnight, even though we'll really enjoy that version another time, we're going to show you what it looks like a couple days down the road.
Come on.
Hey, Susha, show your pickle, please.
There's only one cherry.
Show your pickle, Susha. It's not that big a deal. Let me grab it, please. All right. As this goes along, it's even more yummy, guys. I know you're going to tell me it's not possible that this is even more yummy as it goes along, but it really, really gets more yummy as you go along. The cookies break down a little bit, incorporate a little bit. We're going to start doing that thing where we wrap up. I just noticed our time. All right. Here we go. Birthday, sweet lasagna. UA Katie Belvedere. The wild sous chef, ladies and gentlemen. The wild sous chef. Yes, that's right. The other day we made a huge version, and this is our small version. That's right. As you can see, on the inside in here, we've got that layers, ladies and gentlemen, layers. And it's so good, guys. All right, so our sous chef's dessert is done. And we actually, like I had said we put fresh strawberries, fresh cherries in the first version. All right, so now that we have dessert done, excuse me, sous chef, you mind taking your dessert? All right, sous chef's gonna scoot with her dessert. And me and you, we're gonna wrap this up on the boring, plain Jane, not nearly as fun side where we actually have our pork loin roasted in the oven. About 20-ish minutes. And cut it nice and thin. I didn't cook it too hard. So what I'm going to do, since it's really thin, it's what most restaurants do actually. We put it in another pan, a little bit of our sauce. So we take slices here, put on the sauce. All right. That tagine is just kicking well. We'll cover our pork up with our sauce. We're going to let it heat through before we plate it. As always, we want to have hot food served hot, cold food served cold. Get this to heat through. Oh, we check our tagine. Ready for the little one. Seems to have nicely started to stew down. Again, it's even better when it has time to just sit and stew down and become thick on its own. In fact, that's makes the best. It gets to sit there for a long time. Day 2 or 3, like any really good soup, that's when it's really rocks. But we're at a point where we can get a good bowl, and that's just a real bowl. And we're done. This is our tagine. Nice and thick. All right. No sitting impressive stuff. I don't know if you can see. We're gonna have our sauce cooked onto our pork loin. Nice and deep, right? It's been hot. Nice and deep. And let it just kind of sit there for a minute while we take our veggies from the oven. Take our veggies from the oven, ladies and gentlemen. And get our nice roasted Brussels sprouts. Roasted deep, dark, flavorful Brussels sprouts here. Super sorry we don't have a camera now. Dark roasted Brussels sprouts. We're going to take our sweet potatoes. All right. Take our plate out, guys. We got Brussels sprouts.
Ooh, that's looking good.
That's right. We got Brussels sprouts. We got our sweet potatoes ready to go. I'm take my. Never set your hot pan on the plastic cutting board. Someone did not let me. Let me see, guys. I need some tongs, though. Oh, sous chef. Thank you, sous chefs. You're cooking. All right, guys, you're cooking. All right. Get our pork loin. Take a few chunks of our pineapple. We have hot sauce. And at the top. Oh, yeah. That's the money right there, y'all. All right. We got our plate, ladies and gentlemen. This is our plate. Clean it up for you. Good mess. This is our final result, ladies and gentlemen. Tropical roast pork loin, roast veggies, and our vegetable tagine right here. Tagine, tagine, and
Yeah, that does look very good. I'm definitely gonna try that. And Katie's birthday, I want to make that too.
there we go, guys.
Yep, that looks good.
We'll pick you up. And,
Yes,
maybe give you another view here.
yes. Oops. Well, thank you, Chef Cheryl and Katie. Katie did a wonderful job. I think she has a future. So,
She really does.
yes, yes. So, thank you all for joining us tonight. Sorry about the difficulties, but thank you for hanging in there. And we will post the recipes. And thanks again.
Thanks, guys.